Welcome. I'm Susan Roberti, and let's talk tail waggers. I am so excited today I could just jump up out of my chair. I've been looking forward to the show. We have John the Birdman today, and he is the most wonderful, patient, and loving and caring human being I think I've ever met. Believe me, some of the stories that he tells would just break your heart, but they always turn out good. So before we get started, I want to say thank you, Frank. You know, BPTV's all volunteers, and you are more than welcome to come up and do a show, learn how to use cameras. Just watch us doing a show or go out on a show with us. But you're always welcome at BPTV. It's a wonderful little corner of the world. So now I am going to say hi, John.
Well, hello, Susie. It is such a pleasure to be here. Nice to see you again, and always excited.
I know. And I want to say, oh, so pretty. I want to say thank you to you at the beginning of the show, because I'm always so excited and the show comes to an end and I forget to tell you thank you. So thank you.
Sure.
And you have no idea the pleasure that you bring. I get so many wonderful compliments about the shows that we do, and people, all I hear is, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Sure.
and that's what a good show is all about, is that you're telling them all about the birds, and that there are people that are mean to these beautiful birds.
Yes, there are. And some of the stories, as you say, they break your heart. And,
They do. But we're glad that we have you. So you can start with whatever you want, and I'll sit here and watch these pretty kids.
Okay, well, the little girl that you're holding there, actually we brought her out of retirement. Her name is Buttercup, and she is called a Lutino peach-faced lovebird. She's 18 years old, which is getting up there for a little lovebird, but she's in our program again, and the children just love to hold that bird, and she is very good with sitting on their head. So everybody gets a picture with, Buttercup on their head. And Buttercup came from a breeding situation that they would breed birds, like a lot of these, and when it doesn't work out for them, a lot of people think they're going to make a good bit of money in selling baby birds. But it doesn't work out quite that way. And then they just want to fold up their breeding center and, as we say, get rid of the birds. So that's a little Buttercup story there.
She's a dear baby girl. She's a dear, dear baby girl. I was going to say, these don't live to be 80 years old?
Oh, not the little ones, no.
No.
The most of the budgies, the little parakeets, I didn't bring them today, but most of them will live 6 to 8 years because people only feed them a seed diet. And the seed has very little nutrients, proteins, minerals in it. And actually,
listen.
What the bird is doing is starving to death, slowly. So they need the fruits and vegetables, and what you have to look at them in the wild setting as far as what they need to eat. So when you only feed that type of seed that you buy at a pet store, again, the bird is slowly starving to death, and they live maybe 6 to 8 years. Now, I have some budgies that are 12 years old. And again, it's because of the environment and the diet that's very important.
Well, why at the pet store, wherever you get them, why don't they tell you that to give them fruits?
Well, most pet stores, again, it's a lot of pet stores and breeders, they don't like me because I tell it like it is. And again,
well, we love you.
This isn't merchandise to me. These are living, breathing creatures. And we would not sell them for any reason. There's no dollar signs attached to any of these birds here. Living, breathing creatures that really need a lot of understanding. Most people in pet stores, they're younger people, and they really don't have the education to put out the education as far as what the birds need. And it's very important to know all the aspects. And like a lot of people say, when I do my seminars or shows, and they'll say, you know, I never thought of that, but it makes so much sense in what you're saying about
It's
the
true.
birds.
That's why I'm glad to have you back, because you answer so many questions, and the people that missed us will find out that a sad story, the one that's the saddest story, I think, about our guy is this little pumpkin here. That little guy there.
Well, if I could show this picture here, this particular bird was purchased for $4,000 back in the day when they started hybridizing parrots, which means they are two different species. This particular bird is a cross between a blue and gold macaw and a green-winged macaw. It's called a harlequin macaw. And as you can see, it has some problems there with no feathers. The people that bought this bird, it was sort of an impulse buy. They like to, they see it, the bird's beautiful. If it says hello, well, I have to have it. Well, they brought it home and put it on a tree stand in their living room. They had the wings cut, and after a while, the novelty had worn off, and then the bird starts screaming. Now, these big birds are very loud. We may get a little chatter in here now and then, but in the wild, when these birds scream to capacity, they can be heard 5 miles away.
Oh, God.
Now, being very lucky where we live, we have buildings, houses, hills. When they scream here, you can only hear them 3 miles away. But you don't want that scream in the room you're in.
Yeah, that's a little bit higher than a dog barking.
Yes, but when the bird started screaming, rather than get him a large macaw cage, they put him in one of the little dog crates, the little metal dog crates, and he ended up in their garage, where he lived in that dog crate for 12 years.
12 years.
They tried to sell him, but nobody could get near him. And they finally threw their hands up and they said, look, we can't get $10 for this bird. So I got the call and we went out and they said, you know, if you want this ugly, nasty, screaming, biting bird, you come and get him. You can have him. So let's take a look here.
Isn't this beautiful?
Well, this is Harley today. Let me see, big wings. Beautiful. And Harley is now 33 years old. We took Harley to the vet. He was just riddled with a lot of disease. And the vet actually wanted to put him down. And I said, if I don't try at least one thing to try to help him out. But here we are at 33 years old. And
I wish you could see all the colors under his wings. Mm-hmm. They're just...
But yeah, he is... big, beautiful, happy, and as healthy as can be. Harley, I call him my signature bird because he's what my rescue is all about. Anyone else that would have taken this bird, I'm sure would have had him put down back in 1995.
Now, how long did it take you to get him to come to you?
It was about 2 years of daily interaction as far as him getting close to me. The reason for that is he had a hard time with human beings because his former human beings, they would, when he would scream or, you know, be a parrot, they'd squirt him in the face with water, throw things at his little dog crate, or cover him up and put him in the dark. So he had a hard time, you know, trusting another human. So it took a good while, and almost 3 years before his feathers started coming back. See, he ate nothing but jumbo sunflower seeds, which is not good. And again, if you have to look at these birds as they are in the wild. And the South American birds, they need pineapple, papaya, guava, things that you wouldn't think about buying, except when you go to the pet store, you buy parrot food, which is a seed mix.
You have to remember that when you get one of these birds, they are high maintenance. And it's just not, oh, how pretty and how beautiful. You really have a lot of work, love and patience and caring. And it's every single solitary day as long as you have them, which they can live to be How old?
Well, my oldest is turned 64 in January. We don't have Anna here with us. Anna is a little cockatoo, and she was a friend of my dad's many years ago. And I remember that bird at 4 years old. And Glenn got pretty ill in the late 90s and asked me to take her.
Aww.
And she was hatched in January of 1949.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
and that's a little older than me. So
Yeah,
there you
We
are.
won't even go into that.
Right.
And this Poppy is one of my favorites because he is
She.
she. I always say he because he's so beautiful. She is so beautiful. She is just a little stinker, and she loves her dad.
Oh
and,
yeah. Now Poppy is probably the crowd favorite. No matter where we go, Poppy loves to cuddle, and she will go to anyone, and she'll kind of cuddle up to you and just put her head under your chin here, and people were like, "Are you sure this is a bird? It's not a dog in disguise or something."
Just a lover.
Poppy has socialized very well. She's called an umbrella cockatoo, and
Oh, pretty.
she's I want to say she's about 22 years old now.
Wow.
And she's had a number of homes, but yeah, she is the crowd favorite, and she's also in the program. She describes how these types of birds have powder on their feathers. The cockatoos, they emit a powder down that keeps them waterproof, and a lot of people develop an allergy to that powder down, and sometimes they really don't know where it's coming from. But another thing you have to do your homework with is knowing all the different little things about these birds.
Yes, and none of your birds, their wings are clipped. They just,
No, I do not like to, as I say, cripple a bird.
Hi, baby.
Come here, sweetheart, back up. And I don't confine. I don't like to confine them in small areas.
They actually just sit here because they're happy and they're comfortable. And it's just totally amazing what love and patience. And this is what I think all my shows are about, and John knows this, is love and patience and caring and gentleness. Love and patience and care and gentleness.
Patience is the big word here when it comes to them, because, again, they are not dogs and cats with feathers.
Nope.
They have their own environment. Their habitat is completely different. Dogs and cats have been domesticated for thousands of years. Mm-hmm. These birds are only a couple generations removed from the wild.
So if you decide that you ever see one of these in a pet store and you think they're so beautiful and you have to have one, please read and think about it. And talk to someone like John, because he goes around to schools, he goes to nursing homes, he volunteers his time to so many places. Today he's volunteering his time today for tail waggers. But just know that you really and truly that they just need a lot of love and attention.
Right. Just do the homework and do it in the proper place. You know, there's a lot of experts out there on the internet that will tell you things.
Of that.
Yeah, there's so many people who have maybe had birds for a year or 2 years, and of course they know everything. Now I've had this bird for a year, and I know everything about it. No, I'm almost 40 years into 33 years of rescue, but 40 years of learning about them and studying with people who know. Steve Martin from Natural Encounters, who is, to me, the bird god. Oh. And again, everything he looks at is natural. You have to look at them in their wild settings. And, again, the longevity with these birds. I do have a special birthday bird here today, if we can introduce.
Sure. Can you get your...
Oh, we'll get over there. Come here, sweetheart.
Aww.
Come here. This is Woody. And Woody is called a yellow-collared macaw. A lot of birds get a nickname from a characteristic about the bird. And you see on the back of Woody there is a little yellow collar. And people say, well, macaw, aren't the macaws these large birds, colorful birds? Well, we also have medium and mini macaws.
Wow.
And people will see Woody and they'll say, well, he's just a baby. Well, Woody is celebrating a milestone birthday this year. Woody is 50 years old this year.
You're kidding? Oh,
Yeah,
my
Woody's
Lord.
our birthday special this year.
And he's just as handsome and
Oh,
my.
yes. You know, until they get around the 70s and 80s, then they start to actually
downhill.
look like an older bird. And
Yeah.
like my Anna that I mentioned,
Yeah.
she has cataracts and little arthritis problems. But again, you know, they survive so much longer in the captivity. But Woody here was hatched at 1963.
Wow.
And if we remember, John F. Kennedy was the president back in 1963.
And how did you get this baby?
She was given up. A person just had no more time. They had the bird in the family. It was passed down, and then the girl that had the bird ended up getting married, and then they had the baby, and the family starts. And it's just Woody here. He was never abused in any way. It was just a matter of them actually, when people think about the welfare of the bird and they say, look, we don't have the time for it. And, you know, when they look up someone like me to take in the bird, and they know it's going to have probably the best home that it can have. But yeah, that's Woody, 50 years old.
And you're up there just blowing a fuse, Poppy, because jealous, jealous, jealous. And what's our next baby?
Well, let me see here. Let's another rescue story.
Hi.
Come on, sweetheart. This is Beethoven.
Oh, how
And
beautiful.
Beethoven we call the blue and gold macaw. And again, these
I
birds
wish you
from
could see his
the
face.
South American rainforest. This particular bird started also as a pet, but it was in a house where the people were animal hoarders. There had to be 20, 25, 30 dogs. I'd never got a count on the cats that they removed from this house. And then there was Beethoven. And Beethoven here,
He survived.
he never had a bird cage. He had something very unique to live in, a shopping cart. That was his bird cage for 11 years.
Honey.
And Beethoven had a lot of feathers missing, similar to Harley there. And when we went, the vet looked at him and he said, you know, this bird is actually insane. From confinement like this, and again, improper diet, these birds can actually go stir crazy and lose their minds. Beethoven is doing very well. We are taking him to a lot of programs now. He's feathering in good. His tail still has some work, but other than that, yes, he's doing very well. And he's pretty friendly. Can I have my kiss?
Oh, they're so good.
Okay. Yeah, but another thing that you need to know is the fact that these birds in confinement like this and poor diet, they can actually go insane. They can lose their minds because they were meant to fly hundreds of miles. And when you confine them like this, it's just, there's nothing natural about
They
it.
are truly a free spirit. Truly, truly, truly. Their little hearts are just meant to be just get from one tree to the next
Right.
and just soar like an eagle.
Right.
Huh? Just be free.
Huh.
Oh.
That's our Beethoven.
Thank heavens we have John the Birdman. Believe me.
Yeah, but John the Birdman he gets overwhelmed sometimes. I get so many calls now. I'm doing a lot of programs out of state. We were in Chicago last week, and then we went to Philadelphia this past weekend. We're headed to Columbus, Ohio in a couple weeks. And what I really like is the pet expos, because we're doing our educational programs at the pet expos, and a lot of people really come up. And how many times it's I didn't realize this about birds,
Doesn't that make you feel good?
I used to have a bird, and you know it just got too much for us, and then and they just get passed from one place to another place to another place. And
Well,
some of the
John's
birds,
name and number will be on at the end of the show, and if you would like to give him a call, and he can do a show for you. He's just always looking to educate and teach everybody how wonderful it is. That's why we love you like we do.
well, thank you.
Who do we have next? Anybody that in particular?
Oh, let's see.
These
We
guys.
can do my.
I know you can see how pretty they are, but if you could just be here.
Yeah, the colors are just fantastic. They're amazing. Even a bird like this, you say, well, it looks like a gray bird to me. But if you really look in detail, there are black feathers, there are dark gray, a medium gray, a light gray, and that beautiful red tail. And what we say a lot in our programs, and I do some senior homes, and I really get a kick out of some of the people, and they say, well, how do you get the birds to hold still when you dye their feathers, all these colors? And, you know, of course, all the colors of each bird. Now, Nikki here is from Africa. This is an African gray parrot. And
Be careful.
Nikki was my first bigger bird. And I've had Nikki, I got Nikki when I was around 19 years old. And she is now 40 years old. So we give away the age here. Things I like to do in the program.
They're supposed to be one of the intelligent.
Right, yeah. As far as mimicry,
Yeah, right.
the African greys, more people buy this type of a bird because they are able to mimic the human voice, and they are very intelligent. This bird has the brain the size of a shelled walnut, but extremely intelligent. Some of the things they can figure out on their own. But that's Nikki, huh, Nick?
Oh. The stories, the stories. Now, how many birds do you have altogether?
I would say, if any more people ask me that, I say I don't count them anymore. But around 129.
Wow. And they're all rescue birds.
Yes, yeah. And again, a lot of them are rescues because of they're not treated properly. Humane societies today, in a lot of different states, they do not tolerate anyone who will not properly care for an animal. And a lot of state laws now, they have the right to take that animal away. And that's something I like to see, but something the shelters don't like to see, because a lot of the shelters, we have many dog and cat shelters across the country now that are at double and triple capacity, unwanted, abused, neglected animals.
Yeah.
And it's getting just that bad with the birds here. And we'll do one more here. This is Dutch. And Dutch is a Indian ring-necked parakeet. A lot of people think the little budgies as parakeets. This is a true parakeet. But Dutch here was bred to be this color. They are naturally green in the wild. But Dutch here was going to be a show bird. But the colors didn't come out quite the way they were supposed to. But we took in Dutchie and another one of the more attractive attractions for our program. A lot of people say, I can't believe the color of this bird and that long tail.
It's just, you just stare at it. You just go up on top of its head, then you come back down around its wings to the end of its tail, and you go back up. Its little face is just like it's almost iridescent blues and turquoises and gold. It's in there. I mean, there's just about every color that you can imagine in there. just beautiful.
Good girl. Good boy,
Wow.
I should say. But another thing, a lot of people say at this time of the year, of course, it's winter time right now, and they say, you know, you're bringing these types of birds out into the cold. The birds are tropical by origin. Where these birds originally come from is a tropical rainforest, all of them around the equator area. And of course, it is very hot and humid in those places. But people don't understand, all of these birds were hatched in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, New York, and there's actually wild flocks of parrots in Central Park in Chicago where they live all year long.
Oh, my Lord.
So, there's a picture of Harley here in the backyard, and you can see sitting in the trees.
In the snow?
In the snow, yes. And now they don't stay out there all day long or anything, but here we have the Quakers up in New York. When this picture was taken, it was about 15 degrees below zero. And you can see that they just frolic right in the snow.
My.
And they are tropical parrots. But something you need to understand, you do not have to keep your house at 80 or 90 degrees and high humidity. They learn to acclimate. And they do very well with it. So
I couldn't believe that could be true.
sure.
Oh, my Lord. My Lord, my Lord.
We see the little sparrows and grackles
Yeah.
and, you know, the pigeons. And those birds aren't as hardy as these birds. But all through the winter, especially when people feed them, they keep the feeders out. And you see them, and they're much more delicate than these big parrots.
Well, guess what?
It can't be time to go already.
It is.
Well.
Every time we get together, it's like zip-o-roo, and it's time to go.
Before we do, Susie, I brought you a couple things here.
Oh.
I just, appreciate so much you allowing us to be on the program. Here's a little birdie house journal that you can keep. And
Aww.
I don't know if you're a bingo player or what you would use. It's a little tote bag.
That's
with
going to
a
be
little
my
bird.
vacation bag.
There you are. But yeah,
John.
we want to thank you and
So,
company.
well, no, I should be getting you and thanking you.
No.
Oh, it's just that you
But
just.
we really love to do this, and again, we do shows for all ages,
Remember.
mentally challenged, Alzheimer's groups, every age group. We have different things for different people. Special charities, we are willing to work with you to come and hopefully attract more people if you do fundraisers that we could help out with, because
Right.
we always like to help, whether it be children in need, adults, whoever. We
It's
do
tr-
it for
it's a
anyone.
terrific thing. Well, I got to say goodbye. Before I do, please, my last few shows I've been asking for Shim. That's our food bank here in Bethel. It's up on Park Avenue, South Park and Park Avenue, and they are really in desperate need for food for our community. So if you have any non-perishable things that you could drop off there, things aren't good, and I think the only way we're going to make it through these bad times is love one another and help one another and stay close. So I want to say I love you. Thank you for chatting with me at the stores and telling me how much you enjoy the shows. And like always, I want to say thanks from all the tail waggers.